Today, the nation celebrates the yearly tribute to the country's seafarers who are world-class and have contributed greatly to the growth of the country's economy. Congressman Joselito Manalo of the Angkla Party List has been a major advocate for the country's seafarers as the cornerstone to promote the Philippines as one of the world's major maritime nations. And he joins us tonight on NewsLife. Good evening, sir, and welcome to NewsLife.
Good evening.
So now, what is the significance of today's celebration of seafarers, especially for the Philippines, given their contribution to our country?
First of all, the celebration of the seafarers came from the IMO directive, which was made in June of 2010. It was agreed here in Manila that there should be a celebration of a Seafarers Day. So it's very significant that this directive of the IMO happened in Manila. So that is where the Seafarers Day started. That's why we're celebrating, because we're part of the global with the global workforce of the entire seafarers of the world. The significance of that is basically the seafarers comprise only 5% of the total OFW, and yet they remit 20% of the remittances, close to $5.6 billion US. Imagine 5% of the total workforce contribute of the total remittance. In terms of GDP, the highest per capita income are the seafarers because they average $13,000 US annually. They're the highest among this group.
Having said that, what kind of an impact do our seafarers have in terms of, again, the remittances, and what impact does it have to our country?
The impact is tremendous. We are actually enjoying the remittances of $5.6 billion US. And in the study that we have made from the UP Economics, it shows that the expenses being spent by our seafarers, 31% goes to education. What does it tell us? Educating the next generation of our country. They will be the new middle class, an anchor now of our country, because the money that's earned is being put to good use. So I salute the seafarers today for really taking care of their families, taking care of the country, and this is really commendable. So it's our day today.
Now, so you have championed the Manalo Law. Could you give us a brief overview of what this law is all about?
Well, the Single Maritime Administration, they call it Manalo Law, of course, simply because I was the principal author in Congress. And it simply aligns our skills, the standards of training, competency, and what's keep. It means that our education has to be patterned under certain number of hours, for example, that you need to take up certain courses that would allow you to graduate and be allowed to board a vessel. So by aligning ourselves, we're saying we are like the rest of the seafarers of the world. No difference between any seafarer anywhere in the world because we are standardized. Why did we do a Single Maritime Administration? It used to be that exams were given by the Professional Regulatory Commission. Some of our seafarers go to the National Telecommunication to take exams. They would have to go to TESDA. They would have to go to the Department. So imagine the number of agencies our seafarers are going through every time they need a certification or every time they need to take examinations of qualifications. Today, and as we witness in Marina, all of them, the officers took their oath before Marina. So there's only one single administration taking charge, and the exams are given by Marina. This is a big step forward. We are now aligned, and we have simplified the system for the seafarers.
Now, how do you think this could enhance the competitiveness of our seafarers globally?
Well, when the STCW law, the Single Maritime Administration, came into effect, there are about 91 schools that are existing in our country. So under this law, we will now evaluate, does the schools have enough manpower, professors, teachers, simulators, training programs that would put them in that category of really telling ourselves, these are people qualified. I've been going all over the country. You see, the training is peculiar. When you say you need 40 hours of firefighting, you need to have 40 hours of getting in, turning off the fire. You cannot have 40 hours by sitting down and watching a video. This is what the shipping community is asking. To do a simulation that you fall off the ship, there's what you call the 80 kilos of that dummy that you're going to carry, as if you're carrying a human being. So these are the kind of training alignment that we're doing. we're at par with the rest of the world, and the shipping companies are very happy with what they see.
So currently right now, are we doing enough in terms of educating our seafarers in terms of how to be more competitive and how to rise up the ranks?
Well, because Marina now is the chairman of the Technical Working Group of Maritime Education, then we are assured that someone who's creating the curriculum and providing the educational standards, somebody understands. Why? Because the person in Marina is presumed to have experience. We have what you call auditors, assessors in Marina. So they are now working closely with JED, that they are now saying, this is the standard. So we're bringing in ship captains. In fact, under the law, I have created a provision there under the rules and regulation that there should be a business advisory council. What does it entail? We're going to get advisors from ship captains, ship engineers, people from manning agencies, people from manning companies or shipping. They will now put all of this knowledge together and say, hey, let's be sure and women who go and board vessels are qualified.
Now, what other measures are being undertaken in terms of ensuring that our seafarers, when they board the vessels, when they go work in these vessels, that they're safe and they're at the right place and they're being paid right in terms of all these things?
The Philippines is way ahead in this thing. This is under the POEA to safeguard that the contracts that there is really a manning agency, that, for example, they are put into a vessel that is suddenly abandoned by the ship owner. We have the POEA to see to it that they're repatriated, that if they get injury, they realize that the seafarer is one of the most highly covered worker in the world. An example is disability. If our seafarers are mandated or are covered really by the Maritime Labor Convention, if you get a full disability, you are either governed by the CBA of the company of the ship. It can go as high as over $200,000 on a full death or full disability, or it can go to about $65,000. So these are real benefits that we have. How much coverage do we have in our country? So I would say our seafarers are, because we have aligned ourselves with a global standard. Because the seafarer abroad in any country is treated with respect, treated as high-level professionals. One thing I have called upon our seafarers is the change probably of our cultural perception. A ship captain is as worthy as a pilot to me. Because a ship captain navigates a vessel worth $100 billion.
Now, having mentioned that, are we doing enough in terms of giving notice to our seafarers, in terms of elevating their pride? We've always said that the seafarers or OFWs are the heroes of our time. Are we giving enough notice for them? Said even some of the salaries of our seafarers are even higher than some of the managers that we have here locally.
Well, when it comes to salaries, the average, for example, of a ship captain ranges from $8,000 to $12,000 a month. In fact, one of my, accounting officer in my office had to leave the office because her husband earns $12,000. So that is enough economic power. But I'd like to go back to your question of what are we doing. We have to treat our seafarers right. That's why there's a single maritime administration. We have, in fact, initiated the construction of a new building of Marina. This will now provide them better facilities where they could get their certification, get their requirements to board vessels, and we are now putting more regional offices so that they could have better facility of getting the requirements without leaving home. Because a seafarer leaves the country, they're back here, and they will spend 30, 40 days trying to get the requirements. That's really, for me, an act of neglect. So we're doing that. And if we do that, and if we serve them well, this will culture in a sense that they're important. We need to make it appear and show by real evidence that they're important to us.
And Father, how much have you seen in terms of changes and in terms of moving forward, in terms of how we treat our seafarers? You being very close to this, as we were talking a while ago, your father was a
ship captain.
A ship captain, and this is very close to your heart. So So how much has it changed, and what else do we need to do in terms of elevating the pride of our seafarers?
Well, basically, it's happening now when I meet the young seafarers. There is this remark that I heard when we were trying to form ANCLA. In their studies before, their teacher was telling them, to the seafarers, one day you will become shipping executives. They were laughing. They thought it was very far. That was 20 years ago. Where I met this group before the Seafarers Day, and I had a testimonial with them, the guys who were laughing are now shipping executives. So I tell them, the shipping executives, which used to be seafarers, are shipping executives, owners of companies, running manning agencies, running a training centers. But I told them, go a little bit higher. What is that? Aim to become ship managers and be a ship owner. Because if we aspire to become ship managers and ship owners, we will be a maritime nation. We will start owning the ships.
Okay, on that note, thank you very much for joining us here tonight in NewsLife. Now, as Congressman Joselito Manalo of the ANCLA Party List. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.